Valley of Flowers has been on my list for years, and finally when I did it in last August with Trek The Himalayas, it was nothing like I expected. Not because it disappointed me, but nothing really prepares you for what it actually is. I've already shared my full review of Trek The Himalayas, the food, the accommodation, emergency coordination, everything. But most of you had questions with respect to the trek itself. So here it is. It is everything that I wish somebody had told me before I started. So stick around for the tips most people don't think about until it's too late. Valley of Flowers is open from July to September, and that entire window is monsoon. So let's talk about what that really means on the ground. Landslides are a pretty common phenomenon, causing unexpected blockages and delays. But the authorities there are pretty prompt. The blockages get cleared in an hour or few. Just be mentally prepared because we were not. We encountered multiple blockages on our way up and also on our way down. And mine was extra crazy because of the Uttarkashi cloudburst, which costed us a whole day. So the lesson is to build in at least one buffer day. Do not book your return flight the very next morning because TTH was kind enough to extend our trek by a day, but then everybody who were leaving the very next day had to either reschedule it, which was very expensive, or they had to arrange their return on their own from Khangaria. So having that one extra day is very important. This is a real debate among trekkers, so let me break it down. Ponchos gives you great coverage. It covers you and your backpack. It's easy to throw on if the rain hits you suddenly, and great ventilation so you don't sweat while trekking. On the downside, the wind can make it unruly on the exposed ridges, and it makes walking kinda difficult, especially downhill. After using it, personally, I'm not a big fan of Poncho. Raincoat, on the other hand, gives you a much better coverage overall, though your bag is exposed and you need to have a separate cover for your bag, which is not a big deal, as the raincoat keeps your legs dry, stays put on, and is overall much more secure. On the downside, it takes longer to put it on and the ventilation isn't that great. My recommendation for this trek would be to go for a lightweight poncho. But whatever you choose, avoid those cheap disposable ones. They tear, they leak, and they let you down exactly when you need them the most. You may also choose to rent the poncho. I did, the only gear that I rented. But as many people had used it before me and no one really bothered to dry it, it was stinking bad. Thankfully, during my trek, we didn't encounter heavy rains and I didn't have to use it. Thank God. So I would recommend you carry your own or a lot of perfume. Just saying. To keep your stuff dry, waterproof backpack covers. You need a waterproof cover for your trek bag and one for your day pack. So you need to carry both. Also use those black big dustbin bags or any other plastic as an internal lining of your trek bag and keep all your stuff in it. Additionally, Ziploc bags for your documents, electronics, medicines. I also kept my clothing inside a Ziploc bag. So there were basically 3 layers of covering. Clothes inside a Ziploc bag, and then there was this big black dustbin bag, and then a waterproof coverage over the trek bag. This extra layer of protection goes a long way. But the most important thing to carry is mental flexibility. Monsoon has a lot of ifs and buts. For example, when we were there, we encountered a lot of landslides, costing us few hours every now and then. Then there was Uttarkashi cloudburst costing us a whole day. Then the government may just choose to close the valley due to weather or safety reasons. For example, a lot of trekkers booked it in the week of 15th August to club that Friday holiday. And the government announced a valley closure due to the sheer volume of trekkers. The valley wasn't safe for so many people. You may not get perfect weather on your valley day. We were told that we have 45 minutes in the valley due to incoming weather. We of course stretched it to 2.5 hours, but there was always this pressure to leave. All I'm saying is just take a chill pill, be flexible and go with the flow. Except that the mountains decide. And the best trekkers are the ones who roll with it. Valley of Flower is considered as a beginner level trek. The distance is manageable, 13 to 14 kilometers from Govind Ghat to Ghangaria, and then 6 kilometers each to Valley and Hemkund Sahib. But don't let beginner fool you into going unprepared. Start your training at least 6 to 8 weeks before. What to do? Of course, starting with running, jogging or brisk walking, 30 to 45 minutes every day, 4 to 5 days a week. But just that is not enough. Next is stair climbing. Stop using elevators, seriously. Start climbing stairs every day. This will build the exact muscle and the endurance needed on the ascent. Otherwise, those treacherous stairs on your way to Hemkund Sahib will make you go, Additionally, strength training, lunges, squats, step-ups for your legs and your knees on the descent. Add shoulders and upper back because your backpack is going to feel heavier sooner than you think. You may also opt for porter services for your backpack. Porter services are available through operator or locally at Govind Ghat. As I said, avoid it if you can, but if you must, then book the porter services in advance, because if you book it after reaching there, then you will be charged extra. Most important, nutrition. Increase your water intake weeks before. Start eating complex carbohydrates as they give you sustained energy, which is very important at the altitudes where your body is working extra hard just to breathe. The trail is not hard if you prepare, it is only if you don't. Let me give you a clean and honest breakdown of everything that you need to carry, starting with the most important, footwear. Proper waterproof trek shoes are strongly recommended because the trail is wet, muddy and have uneven rocky sections. Now the sport shoes can also work, but they do not give a good grip on the wet surface and no ankle support. Plus they are hardly water resistant, so if wet, the next day become a challenge. I also understand that these shoes, especially the good ones, are an expensive affair, ranging from 5,000 to 15,000. So if you are a first time trekker and don't want to invest on the shoes, then rent them, either locally or through the operator. But whatever you choose, make sure that they give you good grip and water resistance. I'll share a comprehensive list of clothing that you need to carry, but few things that I want to highlight is definitely carry dry fit t-shirts because cotton stays wet forever, so avoid it. Secondly, waterproof jacket. This one, I really love it. I've been using it for more than 1.5 years and I believe it can survive any rains. This is from Decathlon. Lastly, thermal innerwear. I had carried them but didn't use it. Same was the case with gloves. But if you are somebody who feels cold easily, it is still wiser to carry them than regret not having one. Coming to the accessories, the one that I want to highlight the most is trekking poles. They are very useful, especially during descent. I got this one for just 500 rupees from Decathlon, but they're also available on rent at a very nominal price. So do not skip them. Up next is power bank. Now electricity is usually not a challenge there, but just to be on a safer side, do carry a power bank and an extra light source, maybe a torch or a headlamp. Even though you can still use your phone, but saving the power for your photos. Lastly, sunscreen. SPF 50 at least, and also lip balm with sun protection. Rest everything else is on your screen. The gap between the expectation and reality is a major source of disappointment. So let's set the expectation right. Let me give you a clear picture of what life looks like in Ghangaria, because the more you know, the better prepared you will be. Starting with the accommodation. Ghangaria has camps as well as guest houses. If you are trekking with operators like TTH, your accommodation will be arranged. A proper room with a bed. I was sharing my room with another trekker, though it was meant to be shared between 3. But I believe 3 would have been too many. Don't expect luxury, expect basic hygiene. Nothing great, but functional. Moving on to the washroom. Here I will be honest with you. The washrooms weren't great, but hot water. Many people did not like the stay and they chose to scout for accommodation on their own at an additional cost. and it costed them somewhere around 2 to 3k per room. Another important aspect, toilets on the trail. From Govind Ghat to Ghangaria, the proper toilet facilities are limited to specific spots. The trail is busy in the season and hygiene, bus, I won't say more than that. All the best ladies, but do not compromise on the hydration, okay? We have all seen these breathtaking photos of the valley. But before you go, reset your expectations. Because this is one thing I see people get wrong most often. Valley of Flowers is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a protected, fragile alpine meadow. It is not a manicured flower garden. You won't see flowers wall to wall. What you'll see are rare endemic Himalayan flower species that exist almost nowhere on earth. And the more you know what to look for, the better the experience gets. Flowers that you can expect to spot, of course, depending on time are Brahma Kamal, Blue Poppy, Cobra Lily, Monk's Hood, Fringe Gentian, and so many more. Peak bloom is between mid-July to mid-August. This is when you'll see the widest variety. By September, many species start fading. The beauty is subtle and scientific. To really appreciate it, you need someone who knows what they are looking at. A knowledgeable guide matters here. But more on that in the next step. But before you go, do read a bit. This is probably the question I get asked most. And I want to give you an answer based on my experience, not a generic one. So here we go. Going with an operator, the advantages are, first, everything is organized. From permits to accommodation, transportation, food, guide, porter services if needed. Secondly is emergency coordination. In case something goes wrong, weather, medical issue, trail blockages, they take responsibility and manage it. You don't have to think or panic. Lastly, mental peace, which is the biggest thing. You just have to show up and experience. Especially valuable if this is your first Himalayan trek. On the flip side, you are on their schedule, not yours. They manage bigger groups, so you move at the group pace. For example, when we reached there, we were told that we have just 45 minutes due to weather and group logistic. We of course stretched it, but it wasn't the same. Every next step, we were asking ourselves, do we go ahead or do we take a U-turn? Additionally, the guided experience inside the valley itself was very limited. Once we entered, we were basically on our own to explore. In hindsight, I believe the operator could have done a better job at taking us to specific spots, pointing out some rare flowers, and giving us a proper guided tour of the valley rather than just getting us there and back. Lastly, timing is fixed. You can't leave early to beat crowds or stay in late to catch golden light. But if you choose to go on your own, then the benefit is flexibility. You can leave Ghangaria really early in the morning and utilize the entire window for which valley is open. And of course, you can hire a private guide who focuses entirely on your group, giving you a real tour of the valley. Small group means faster decision, better pace, and more personalized experience. But that also means you manage everything on your own, and that takes a good amount of planning. If something goes wrong, there is no operator to call. You need to be resourceful and prepared. And of course, that means less support for first-time trekker who have never done altitude trekking. Honestly, both options work. It depends on what kind of trekker you are. If this is your first Himalayan trek or you just don't want to deal with the logistics, go with an operator. Mental peace, safety net, and organized support are really worth it. Plus, you get to meet some really amazing and like-minded people. But if you've already done few treks and are comfortable managing your own logistics, then I'd say go semi-independent. When you manage your own transport and guest house, but hire a dedicated private guide, especially for the valley. That way you can leave early, spend extra time, and have a guided proper tour of rare flowers. This is where I feel operator model fall a little short. But there are no right answers. Know your experience, know what you are looking for, and book accordingly. Valley of Flowers is genuinely one of the most special places I have ever been to. It challenged us, surprised us, and slowed us down in the best way. But the people who make the most out of it are the ones who go prepared, physically and mentally. With that, I hope that this video helped, and if it did, hit that thumbs up, share, and do not forget to subscribe. If you have more questions, drop them in comment box and I'll be at your service. My Valley of Flower trek experience and Trek the Himalayas review is down in the description box for you to know what you're signing up for. Lastly, I wish you have a wonderful experience and come back a different and better version of yourself. See you in the next one. Ciao!
चल